This is a final update. Link to the original story and updates will be in the description. Last update. I didn't know my first post would blow up like this, or my first update about my now ex-girlfriend Becca's BFF Cindy's paternity scheme. But here's the update. Since Becca told me off yesterday, I had turned my phone off and was ignoring all calls and texts. But from my Apple Watch, I can see notifications. This morning, I turned my phone on to respond to a text from Stan. I called him and he apologized for his blow-up yesterday. He thanked me for sending him the video of Cindy cheating and said he wanted to know everything I knew. After I told him, he said he'd already dumped Cindy, but now he wants a prenatal paternity test. I didn't even know you could do that. If the baby's his, then he will support his child. But until the test, he wants nothing to do with Cindy. I also returned a call from work and was told the man from yesterday, Mike, was pacing in front the building earlier this morning, but security must have spooked him because he left before the cops were called. Without checking her messages, I drove to Becca's and called her from outside saying we need to talk. She agreed. I waited in my car forever before going to her apartment. When Becca opened the door, she practically jumped into my arms. She started saying she was sorry she yelled at me, and it was just her gut reaction to defend her BFF, but she doesn't want to lose me over Cindy's drama. I practically peeled her off of me and sat on the couch. I think I was just stalling when I first asked her what the original plan was for Cindy's baby. How would it benefit Mike to have Stan raise his kid if he himself wanted a child so badly? She said that Mike didn't want the full-time responsibility of a kid. So this way, he would get to be the godfather who spoiled the baby, and he would even pay for the kid's college later on. Then she said, but that's no longer the plan since Stan knows everything. But she quickly said, not that I blame you for that. She then said now that everything's out in the open, she wants us to get back to normal. I nearly choked at normal. I got to it and asked her straight up, are you sleeping with Mike? She looked hurt that I asked that and said no. Of course not. I then asked, were you ever sleeping with him? She looked away. It was a gut punch. I just stood up and left. She let me leave, but she started blowing up my phone as soon as I drove off. She called nonstop and left several voice text messages. In one, she says that her hookups with Cindy and Mike are done for good now and I'm her future. So that's one question asked and answered. In another message, she wants us to move forward and thinks we should try couples counseling. I no longer trust her, but I still love her. But I also know that counseling can't rebuild trust, so it's definitely over between us. I finally blocked her on everything and might get a restraining order on Mike. The only good thing is at least now Stan knows the whole truth. So thank you, Reddit, for your comments telling me to do the right thing. Now for the comments. Run like your hair is on fire. His private parts are probably on fire, more likely. Never know what she has, or Mike, or the BFF. Yes, get an STD test OP. Staying with Becca and attempting to salvage this train wreck of a relationship would be the biggest mistake you can make in your life. Run the F away from her, and never speak to her again. You seem to be considering staying with her after this, and that would be effing insane. I completely agree. This isn't just a minor issue you can brush off. It's a glaring sign of toxicity and a lack of respect. Staying with someone who's shown you they're capable of this kind of behavior will only lead to more heartache. Cut your losses now, prioritize your own well-being, and move on. You deserve way better than this mess. If there was ever a situation where couples counseling would not work, it is this one. Becca has gone way too far with this, and her adding in all of the stuff about her, Cindy, and Mike just sealed the deal. Good on you for being honest with Stan, because he needed at least one person in his life to tell him the truth. You saved that man from at least some of the drama by giving him the background that he didn't have. Now that he knows all of the information, he is able to make an informed decision about where to go from here. And please do get the restraining order against Mike. There is something truly wrong with that man. He confronted you at your office, was kicked out by security, and then came back again to pace outside your office? That's grade A stalker material right there. Honestly, the three of them deserve each other, and you can just let the trash take itself out. I feel like, professionally, He has to get that RO now just in case this drama is held against him in some way at work. Not the AA hole. You say last update like the crazy just stops when you block them. Do yourself a favor and consider the following. Dash cam for your car that includes parking mode for when it's sitting parked outside. Letting your boss or HR know there is personal drama around Mike and that he is unwelcome in your life. I would also consider letting them know you broke up with Becca as part of that drama, and she is not welcome either. Get a doorbell camera if you don't already have one. If you rent and can't install one, look into a peephole camera. If nothing else, get a rubber doorstop so that you can open your door a crack, but easily prevent someone from getting in. Save every text and voicemail somewhere safe. If the crazy does continue to spill into your life, it will make getting official blocks in place a bit easier. Spend some time looking at lawyers in your area that could help with a restraining order. Better to have a number ready and not need it than to be caught flat-footed. So having read all the stories so far, you are a hero. Paternity fraud is no joke. You just saved a man. As for Becca, you know she's been banging Mike this whole time. Don't believe otherwise. Leave her in the past. That trio is just horrible all around. She said done for good now, meaning she was still sleeping with him until everything blew up in their faces. Save every voicemail and text message from her in case she tries something else, which she most likely will. And you need to get a restraining order against Becca. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents and grandparents their delusions? Or why my half-brother could ruin Christmas for everyone? My parents hosted Christmas last year, and it was a crap show. They had me, 17 male, and my younger sister, 13 female there, and then my grandparents on both sides, and my half-brother, 25 male. My paternal grandparents had to convince him to show up because he doesn't talk to my parents or to me and my sister. He showed up anyway, and he had let his mom know, and she showed up and threw a rock through our window and tried to attack my mom. The police had to be called, and she was arrested, and there was a fight that broke out between my dad and half-brother, and my sister was upset, so I had to take her upstairs and comfort her because she didn't remember an experience like it before. None of this came as a big shock to me. It's not the first time my half-brother's mom did that. When I was 6-ish, she was arrested for attacking my mom in front of all of us. My half-brother ended up living with us all the time instead of half the time after that. And he defended his mom and always said he didn't care that his mom attacked my mom and he wouldn't have cared if his mom had killed my mom. He told us he didn't even care if his mom killed me and my sister. He told Dad over and over again that he didn't want to live with us, but Dad said he was the only parent who wasn't in jail, so he needed to be with us, his family. Life while my half-brother lived with us was tough, and when he was 17, he left after saying he hoped my mom watched her back because his mom was free to do what she wanted, and he went to live with his mom. My parents never stopped trying to bring him back in, and they'd get annoyed if I didn't show any interest in my half-brother visiting. Whenever we'd see him at my grandparents', I stayed out of the way and kept my sister with me. They said we're family and all that kind of thing. I never wanted to be around him. He was scary when I was younger, and then I felt like I needed to protect myself in case he sicked his mom on us again. Because apparently that time she attacked my mom, he had known it would happen and helped her plan it. My parents and grandparents were all going crazy after Christmas because of what happened, and they acted so surprised by what went down. They talked to my sister, and she was really upset, and they told her it was abnormal, and there was no way we could have known. When they talked to me about it, I told them I didn't need a talk, and we should focus on my sister, because she never lived through that crap, and had no idea how bad he was. They said he might have ruined Christmas, but he's still my brother, and I told them he only played a part because it was really down to them. If they hadn't gone so far out of their way to convince him to come when he clearly didn't want to, it would never have happened, and I told them they ignored the past so much it made them even more delusional because he never changed how he felt about it. They didn't like me calling them delusional, and they told me I would never understand the complexities. I told them they'd never understand that I have dealt with it crap my whole life, and I can read the room and see he doesn't give a F about us and doesn't care what happens, and that it's a bad mix when being pressured to attend something. I told them I knew he'd have to let her kill one of us and still defend his mother before they might open their eyes. And now they're all pissed at me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Bro, Your family is seriously in denial. You're not the a-hole for calling them out, even if it was harsh. They need a reality check about your half-brother. He's dangerous, and they can't keep pretending everything's okay. It's messed up that they're minimizing what you and your sister went through. You deserve to feel safe, and they're not taking that seriously. Tell them straight up that you can't be around him until he gets his act together. And don't back down. You have the right to protect yourself. They're forever in denial. They also don't give me the choice to not be around him. They say we're family and we need to see each other as much as possible. Sometimes I even question if they'd care if one of us was killed by his mom, or would they still hope for a better relationship? Classic case of, let's invite the drama and act shocked when it shows up. Your parents need a Netflix subscription instead of a reunion. My advice is to refuse to attend family gatherings when he is going to be present. They can choose him and violence, or they can choose you. That's on them. Protect yourself, not the AI hole. This, I would even go further and place an ultimatum. Either you stop, or I am reporting you for endangering a minor, the sister. Same with your relationship with your parent. They need to stop, or you will go no contact by the time you are 18. At that point, there is no other solution. Why did your dad and his ex separate? They didn't get along much, and it always sounded like they agreed to break up and she got married but couldn't handle my dad doing the same. Okay, just making sure there aren't lingering resentment from affairs. Not the a-hole. Either your half-brother is just toxic like his mom, or he has been poisoned by his mother. Hard to say regarding your dad. I get that you brother is just as much his son as you are, but he should have put in place some clear boundaries when violence came into the picture. Your parents and your grandparents are delusional. There is no reasoning with them. I am not sure why your mom is still with your dad. I would have insisted on no contact after the attack. Otherwise, it is divorce. Whatever that is bearing on your parents' guilty conscience, it is seriously clouding their judgment. You best plan your exit from the family and teach your sister to protect herself. Alternatively, stay around until your sister can leave home and the both of you leave together. Not the a-hole. It is only a matter of time before someone gets seriously injured. So I'm guessing there was some cheating by your dad while he was with your half-brother's mom, and his mom holds your mom responsible? I can't imagine why there would be so much hate otherwise. OP! This is a tough situation, and I'm sorry you have spent your life dealing with it. You are absolutely not the a-hole here. Your half-brother seems to have been raised by his mom to spew that same hate that she has, and there isn't anything you or your parents and grandparents can do to change that after 25 years. And you're not wrong for trying to get them to see that. They need to be doing more to protect you, and especially your little sister, from these horrible people. If your half-brother wants to be a part of your family, he'll reach out on his own. Good luck, and I hope you can make them understand they are fighting a losing battle. Nope, no cheating. She was married before my parents were married. I apologize for the assumption. It makes it even worse that the half-bro's mom is that unhinged simply because your dad did the same thing she did and moved on. There may be something psychologically wrong with both of them. Be careful. OP! Story 3. Am I the a-hole for storming off after dinner with my wife? Hi all. Earlier tonight, my wife told me she had to call one of her male employees to about some work business. I was preparing to start cooking dinner and didn't think anything of it. Not unusual. She went out the back porch and started talking. I could hear some of what they were talking about from where I was in the kitchen. They were complaining about other employees at the business, how the holiday was and what they got up to, personal issues in the employee's family life. Not a lot of actual business. I gave her a 5-minute warning that dinner is about to be ready, and I thought this is where normally you would start winding down the conversation. At this point, the phone call had been going for well over an hour. I finished cooking and plated up, and let her know that her food is good to go, and she gives me the 1 minute and I'll be there gesture. So I go pour out some drinks, go sit at the table and wait. After a couple of minutes, I'm getting pretty annoyed with this situation, so I go and check again. I get the 1 minute gesture again. I go back to the table, wait a couple more minutes, and then start eating. I finished my meal in silence and sat there still waiting. Couple of minutes later, she comes in. At this point, I was pretty annoyed, but a simple "sorry about that" would have completely diffused the situation. However, when she came in, she was still on the phone, talking about the employees' pet fish and their aquarium setup. She sits down and starts eating still on the phone. Not even a word to me. I found that to be so unbelievably rude that I got up, washed my plate, and stormed off. The call went for another few minutes after that, lasting over an hour and a half total. When she finished talking, she came in and yelled at me for being upset with her for having friends and not allowing her time to talk to them. I said some things about her employee that I regret. To an extent, I never liked this person to begin with. And then I tried to explain to her why I was upset, but she insists that I'm overreacting and that I'm an a-hole for storming off like that, and then for attacking her friend. This is the first incident like this. She doesn't have a lot of friends and rarely has phone calls like this. We don't always eat dinner together, but most nights we do, especially if I've cooked something nice. I asked her why she didn't just hang up when I told her dinner was ready, and she said it would have been rude. Was I too impatient? Did I overreacted? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. If she didn't want to be rude, she could have easily said, "We are about to sit down to eat dinner. Can I call you back in 20 minutes to continue this?" It's not like that is the only opportunity she ever has to talk with her friend. I actually brought this up, and her defense was that the guy was talking about his mental health struggles, and she thought it was rude to go in the middle of that. However, when she walked in still on the phone, they are talking about pet fish? And yeah, they are literally going to see each other tomorrow at work, and my wife is his boss. She's trying to gaslight you into believing her behavior is acceptable. It's not. Not the AI hole. I asked her why she didn't just hang up when I told her dinner was ready, and she said it would have been rude. Saying, "Oh, it's time for dinner. I gotta run. See you tomorrow," is not rude, and would be a totally normal and expected thing to say after over an hour on the phone. But apparently it's less rude to come and eat with your spouse while staying on the phone. Why not keep it simple and just go out for dinner with your colleague instead? Also, this is one of her employees. Even putting aside the dinner issue, having lengthy personal conversations outside of working hours is not really an appropriate superior-subordinate relationship, in my opinion. Apparently, they are having mental health struggles and family issues, so she said it would be rude to go in the middle of that. Yes, she is the manager at the business, and this guy is an employee at the business. In my opinion, it's completely inappropriate, and she even complains endlessly about how unreliable this person is to me, but then gossips for 1.5 hours on the phone with them at 8 p.m. while dinner is getting cold. Not the AI hole. Sounds inappropriate, and she doesn't need to be friends with her employees. Are you more worried because it's a male? It sounds like she could be laying groundwork for an emotional affair. I was probably angrier than I would have been if it was a female because I felt it was disrespectful, but I didn't really consider another angle like an emotional affair until people started bringing it up in the comments. To be honest, I don't even know what an emotional affair is. Any chance you can elaborate? Emotional affairs don't include sexual acts, but have all the feelings of it. It's not appropriate to be this familiar with your subordinate and may jeopardize her job if it creates an HR situation. Wife is in dangerous waters with you and her job. Did no one read the last paragraph? This is a one-time event of someone that doesn't have a lot of friends in OP, and his wife have dinner regularly anyway, and you could have just let it slide this one time and had a civil conversation with your wife instead of acting the way you did. I'd understand if it was multiple times. It happened once, which should have ended in an amicable conversation at the end, explaining that she had you waiting and for her to cut the call short next time. Or perhaps have the conversation outside of dinner hours if it's just chit-chat. That's nothing to do with work. So yeah, you're the a-hole. I had to scroll far too long to find this. Yes, having someone talk on the phone during dinner is annoying, but a minor annoyance once in a blue moon isn't something to get angry over. Hard disagree. Just because it doesn't happen multiple times doesn't mean this instance wasn't incredibly rude and disrespectful to OP. OP's wife had multiple opportunities to get off the phone, but instead chose to prioritize a conversation over the meal her spouse prepared and was actively eating. I can't imagine how oblivious someone would have to be to continue engaging in a casual conversation with a coworker on the phone while sitting down to consume a meal in front of the spouse that prepared it for you, after also blowing off that spouse multiple times. Even if the guy on the phone was having mental health issues, she could have communicated to her husband that her conversation had taken a serious and unexpected tone and she needed to focus on it. At every turn, she instead chose to blow him off and prioritize someone else. That's rude, full stop. She owes him a huge apology, which he likely never will get because she's too proud to admit she effed up. Not the AI hole. Clearly, I'm in the minority, but you're the a-hole. All this ridiculousness about it being inappropriate or having an emotional affair based off this post is bonkers. She wasn't being secretive about who she was talking to or what they were talking about. You're acting like an insecure, spoiled brat. Even then, is it not disrespectful to fail to show up to dinner when a meal has been cooked for you? The way I was raised, my dad would never have accepted an excuse like, I was talking to someone from work. If mom has just put food on the table for the family, you show up and show appreciation. I can't even tell her that she's pissed me off because she shows up after I've already finished eating and is still on the phone.
Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.